Now, let's just jump right over to the phones, because waiting for us on the other end of that line is the director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau. It's our good friend, Dennis Horton. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, Riley. How are you?
I'm terrific. How's everything going with you?
Actually, terrific as well.
All right. You ready for fall?
I love fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm looking at my sweaters now, so I'm good.
I don't know why I just standing in front of the closet going, that one, I think that's a good one. That'll be a Wednesday sweater. Let's see. There's another good one. Yeah, I got to start doing that myself. All right. Well, let's go. Let's move over from fashion onto protecting you guys and your wallets. Dennis has got some great stuff for us this morning. Let's talk about catalytic converter thefts, for instance.
It isn't something that you would spring to mind that it's an issue, but it has become a major issue. Illinois ranks number 5 in terms of people who are getting their catalytic converters cut out of their cars. In fact, I'm not exactly sure where Rockford stands, but I know from the calls that we have gotten and from having it happen to my own car.
Really?
Yeah, and then I went to have it repaired and was told, "Oh, you're not alone in this." I wondered what was going on and what has happened. I happened to park in a lot and overnight, leaving my car there because I was traveling, thinking it would be okay when I came home.
Sure.
And when I got into it, being that it is a hybrid, when you start the car, there is no sound, except in this case, it was very loud. Looked under and found that it had something that shouldn't be there was all crumpled up and beaten, to find out that the catalytic converter had been cut out of it. Had a call from a gentleman who had his RV parked for repair and found that his catalytic converter was cut out. When I had the car repaired, the mechanic said that on their lot they had catalytic converters cut out. Junk dealers, and they can get about $800 a piece for these stolen catalytic converters.
Really? $800 a piece? Because, I remember back when the catalytic converters first came into play, there were people who were moving around hiring someone to remove it because they didn't want to deal with it. But the idea of, no, you don't have to hire someone. They'll just steal it right off there for you.
Yeah, and from the reports that we have gotten, and I've had reports from Rockford, as well as it was such an issue in Elgin that the police department put out an alert to make sure that we are protecting our cars, and in this case, your wallet. Repair is in the thousands of dollars. So having a new one put in can cost you about $1,700 to $2,000.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah, this is educational. I didn't know any of these things. The containment of precious metals, platinum, palladium, rhodium, valuable to metal dealers. And how's this for a stat? Thefts of catalytic converters have skyrocketed from an average of 108 per month in 2018 to 2,347 in December of last year.
Yes. And you would think during a pandemic this would not be an issue, but it has become an amazing issue. The numbers you got for up through December, they're just as startling for July of 2020 through June of this year, with up to 18,000 so far this year.
Okay.
What we have to make sure that we do to protect ourselves is to park your car in a garage, because they literally will pull into your garage, the thieves, or your driveway, and with a sawzall, cut it out and be gone within minutes.
I was going to say, how long does the whole process take from someone crawling under to them crawling back out and taking off with your catalytic converter?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes, 10 minutes. Those are the time frame that I have been given. And it can be done very quickly. So you park in the garage, or make sure that if you're parking in your driveway, it's well lit. And if you don't have access to a garage, just make sure that if you are parking in a public location, parking lot, do so in a well-lighted area so that it can be seen. And it's possible, make sure you park near other vehicles that make it more difficult for them to jack the car up.
Yeah.
I was parked alone in an area, so I made it very simple for them to pull in and jack the car up and out of there.
All right. Learn from Dennis's mistake that he didn't even know he was making, that most of us wouldn't even have known we were making. Get next to other people. Make sure you're near a light. And other than that, throw a bunch of rat traps under your car. I don't know what else to do to try to ward that off.
I kind of like that rat trap idea. From the yelling,
yeah,
you might be able to prevent them from getting to your catalytic converter.
Yeah, watch the guy screaming down the street with 6 rat traps on his arm. That's the guy you're looking for, officer. All right, so be on the lookout for that one. What about moving scams?
This is the time of the year. We have to issue alerts to people twice a year about moving scams, in the spring and again in the fall. October is one of the most busy months for moving. And that's when the scammers come out, the fly-by-night movers. And it's especially important this year because the eviction moratorium was lifted this past weekend. And there are a lot of people who will need to move and who will need to do that using a mover. And the scammers are out there, and they'll be there running their schemes. The things that happen with people, we get thousands of complaints, 13,000 complaints and negative reviews about movers last year.
Wow.
And it's not, those aren't national figures. Those are BBD Chicago, Rockford figures. So when we look at the number of people who are impacted by it, we really want people to make sure that if they have to move, that they are being very wary of the people that they're doing business with, that they pick a reputable mover, which is not hard to do. You can find in our database, and this is nationally, but 20,000 different moving companies are listed in our database. So finding a mover is not difficult. And what happens to people very frequently is that when they get a bad mover, their belongings are held hostage. The payment that they initially negotiated has skyrocketed, and then they can't get their furniture and other belongings delivered, or they will pay a down payment. Their furniture will be picked up, and they never see it again. So you need to be very careful when you're in the process of moving.
Yeah, I had read about that one in particular, where there was a couple, I think they highlighted from Iowa, who had called a non-reputable mover, although they didn't realize that. And the person came, loaded up all their stuff, and turned right around after they left their driveway, closed the business, and drove off with that truck full of their stuff, which was then later sold off to whoever wanted to buy it.
Yeah, and it happens more frequently than you know. So it's something that we have to make sure that we are cognizant of and do all that we can to prevent it from happening to yourself.
All right, so get in touch with the BBB, check their database, look at the reputable ones, the ones that people have had plenty of good luck with and aren't ashamed to put down a positive review for. And if it's just a couple of guys down the block who are doing this as a sideline, be careful of what you're paying for.
Be careful, exactly. Know who you're dealing with.
All right, yeah, that the whole idea of your entire household being on a truck and then either being held hostage or you being told, yeah, we closed up, we have no idea where that truck is, and we probably never will.
Yeah, and we've had reports of people who have gone to the warehouse where their furniture was first being held, could see their furniture, but the place is locked up and they can't get to it.
Huh. Oh gosh, that's just we always talk about the feeling of violation. That's got to be a huge one there.
Your things and you can't get them.
Yeah, you can see all your stuff over there. Now, go on home. You can't have any of it. Yeah, watch out and call the right people. Start out by calling the BBB on that one. And finally, some identity theft prevention we can all get behind here.
You know, Riley, identity theft still remains to be one of the number one scams and schemes and frauds that people deal with. And it's not just things losing your identity when there's a breach or you get hacked yourself. Identity thieves literally will go through the trash and get all kinds of personal information to rip you off. So to prevent that, we, along with the Better Business Bureau, along with Members Alliance Credit Union, are hosting our free Community Shred Day. And this is the first time that we've done that in 18 months because we've had to cancel for the last year and a half due to the pandemic. It will be held this Saturday, October 9th, at Members Alliance Credit Union at 2550 South Alpine, which is at the corner of Alpine and Harrison, from 9 a.m. to noon. You can bring 2 boxes per car of your important financial papers that you need to get rid of and make sure that they don't fall in the hands of a thief.
Yeah, because when that happens, then all of your tax documents, your insurance stuff, all the stuff that are really for your eyes only become a target for someone else.
Yes. A good rule of thumb is to keep all your tax records and supporting documentation for at least 7 years. Keep your credit card statements for 7 years if they're tax related as well, or until you can reconcile it with your own statement. Make sure you keep your paycheck stubs for a year. Be sure to keep your bank statements. So you see all these things that we are told that we need to keep, but then when that year or those time frames expire, what do you do with it? Well, you don't just toss it in the trash. You toss it in the trash if you shredded it at home. But if you don't have a shredder and you need to get rid of it, and I imagine now, after a year and a half of not being able to do it in many cases, there are a lot of people out there who can use the service, and it's free.
Yeah, and even if you have a shredder, you know what you have piled up there is more than going to wear it out. You go with the pros. So let's give the whys and wherefores again. What time should people show up and limitations and all that?
2 boxes per vehicle. It is this Saturday, October 9th, at Members Alliance Credit Union at 2550 South Alpine in the corner of Alpine and Harrison from 9 a.m. to noon.
And no charge.
And no charge. And if you have any questions, you can give us a call at the Better Business Bureau, and I'll do my best to answer whatever your query might be.
Outstanding. And speaking of people wanting to get in touch, maybe they want to know about moving and they don't want that to happen to them, or there's a little bit more on catalytic converters they'd like to know, or maybe they've got information. How do people reach out and make contact with you?
You can give us a call at area code 815-963-2222.
Dennis, outstanding report. I know you're going to save some people a lot of time, trouble, and money with this one, and plus get a whole bunch of shreddables out of that house and taken care of. I appreciate the effort. We'll look forward to getting together again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Riley.
There's our friend Dennis Horton. You too. He's the director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau.